think you're ready for Town Hall 8? Stop! Beware! Do not enter! Do not proceed if you have not maxed out your Town Hall 7. What do I mean by max out? I mean build everything and upgrade it as high as you possibly can before you even think about Town Hall 8. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying, do not even think about going to Town Hall 8 until everything as a Town Hall 7 has been maxed out. Maxed out? Good. Let's get started then. Town Hall 8 really is the best Town Hall, guys. I mean, it's the best one so far. You get so many more things, and these are the things you get to upgrade or build. Let's look at them. They're beautiful. And let's just talk about what is most important to upgrade first. We're talking about defenses and traps right now. We'll cover the non-defensive things a little bit later. You get a new one of almost all these. I don't think you get a new cannon, but you get to upgrade all of these things. Your archer tower, you get 2 levels. Your wizard tower, you get 2 levels. Your mortar, your cannon, I think you get 2 levels for the cannon too. Your Tesla, you get 3 new levels, and your air defense, you get 1 new level. Most of these are the level or the Town Hall 7 edition or version. Except for my air defense, I've already upgraded them and maxed all 3 out. And Tesla is usually level 3, but this is level 4 because I've maxed them all out. Or not maxed them out, but I've got them all to level 4 as well. But cannon level 8, arch tower level 8, wizard tower level 4, mortar level 5. Those are all the level that you get them to at Town Hall 7. Make sure you max it out. And here are the traps. You got your spring trap, giant bomb, seeking air mine, skeleton trap, and air bomb. All of these things are almost maxed out as well, so I apologize for that. But let's talk about a few things before we go into what's most important. First things first, you have to max out your Town Hall. How many times have I said that? Do not rush your base. Rushing means that you go in, you upgrade your Town Hall before everything else is maxed out. And yes, I'm even talking about your walls. If you do not max out your walls as a Town Hall 7, you're going to get destroyed at Town Hall 8. I'm just warning you guys, please do not rush your bases. Do not rush your bases. Moving on. Okay, so what we've got here is a few things that we want to, okay. I'm getting excited because this is an exciting topic for me. Okay guys, so you're going on to Town Hall 8 and you need to know what to upgrade first. Let's make it a priority to increase your damage per second in your base as fast as humanly possible. Now, it would be easy. Go on to the Clash of Clans wiki and find out what upgrades increase DPS the most first, right? I mean, that makes most sense. No, you can't do that because not all defenses are created equally. We have air troops, we have ground troops, we have range, we have all kinds of things that we need to consider when we're talking about defenses. So let's talk about first of all, let's remove a few of these things. Some of these do not belong, and I'm talking about traps and defenses. The air sweeper, we can remove the air sweeper first because the air sweeper, the air sweeper doesn't even do DPS. It just pushes dragons and it pushes balloons around, and that's not quantifiable. I do recommend upgrading this thing though first because I've seen that it can completely wreck a raid, and if you place it well and your attacker doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't consider the air sweeper, this thing is legit, but it'll be in the list later, but we're going to remove it for now. Boom. Also, we're going to get rid of the spring traps. The spring traps are a 0-second build. They're instant and there's no upgrades for it, and they're instant kill for up to what, like 15 spaces worth of troops. So I recommend doing these spring traps as soon as humanly possible because they are legit. They can ruin a raid for somebody if they're depending on a squad and they get catapulted up into space. So build those too, but we're going to remove them for now because they don't do damage per second. Also, remove the Seeking Air Mine. They do a crud of damage to one unit. Usually they're fatal to a dragon, and they have a 0-second build time as well. So the DPS, the damage per second for this particular build is infinite because it takes 0 seconds to build it. So do this as well as soon as possible. Also, there's no upgrades. You can't go to level 2 until Town Hall 9. So do that ASAP. And the skeleton traps. We're going to remove this in the conversation as well because the skeleton traps have those little skellies that come out and drive people nuts. There's no statistics on them that I can find, so I just recommend building these as fast as possible. Also, we can't do any kind of comparisons number-wise, so just do these as well. Okay, so here's our upgraded little setup here. We got rid of a few things, and I would like to mention that the hidden Tesla does twice the damage to P.E.K.K.A, and the giant bomb does 1.5 times the damage to Hog Riders. We're not including these in the math. We're just going to mention it now that the numbers we're portraying for these particular defenses is actually more against those particular units. One other thing I need to mention before we get started, the new buildings that you build. You know, whenever you go to Town Hall 8, you get a new Archer Tower, and a new Wizard Tower, and a new Mortar, and a new air defense, and all that cool stuff. You need to build those and get them to the level that you had the others in Town Hall 7. What I mean by that is the new Archer Tower, get it to level 8 as soon as possible. That way, everything is in a level playing field. You've got your 5 Archer Towers all to level 8. You've got your 5 cannons all to level 8. I think you only have 5, or you have 5 in the beginning. You have all 3 of your Wizard Towers level 4, etc. That way that you can follow this guide word for word, but make sure and do that absolutely first, because those brand new buildings, they are cheap and they build quickly, and it's going to increase your damage per second of your base much faster than working on these higher level upgrades. So do those first, get them all leveled out to the same level as Town Hall 7, and then you're ready for this guide. So y'all ready? Let's get started. Okay, here we go. Here's our defenses that we're going to be looking at first. Some of them have 1 level you get whenever you upgrade to Town Hall 8. Some of them get 2, and even one of them gets 3 levels. So all 3 of those levels, new addition to the damage per second is included on the screen. Here you go. For example, you get the cannon. It's got 8 damage per second for the first level, and then it's got 9 new damage per second for the second level that it gets level 9 into level 10. That's all here on the screen now, and we need to consider a couple of differences between all of these defenses. Think about it. The Archer Tower, 1 shot, single shot, it does pretty well against spread out archers, but whenever you have the Wizard Tower, it can take out 50 at once because it's splash damage. And so I did a little bit of counting, a little bit of numbers, and I watched some farming raids, some regular raids, some war raids, everything, and I determined that the average splash damage hits 3 units at a time versus the single target, which does 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply all of those DPSs, all those damage per second, by 3 for the splash damage, which is the mortars and the Wizard Towers. Bam! Okay, the numbers have been altered. Now let's talk about targeting. 25% of the units available to a max Town Hall 8 are air units. And so therefore, the defenses that can target only air units can only hit 25% of the troops that people are going to use. So we have to consider that an air defense is only going to hit 25% of the units available. So the DPS needs to be dropped to 25% of what it's showing here. It only makes sense. But something like a cannon can only hit ground troops. That's 75% of the units that are available. Now, you could argue that, whoa, I've seen way more dragon attacks in war than I've seen goblin raids. Yes, I know, but we can't predict and we can't quantify human behavior. So we have to consider everything is even. And go from there. We'll do a little adjustment later on at the end, but that's what we have to do now. 75% ground units, 25% air units. Things like the Archer Tower can hit both, so that's 100%. Let's adjust the numbers here. So the air defense is going to drop significantly. The cannon, the mortar, they're going to drop a little bit. Everything else should stay the same. Ready, and boom! Alright, there's the adjusted DPS, guys. Now let's consider the range. The mortar can hit units way sooner than the Tesla, because the Tesla and the Wizard Tower both have a range of 7, the mortar has a range of 11, and the cannon, the air defense, the Archer Tower, they're all relatively around the same, around 9 or 10. So we need to consider that the mortar can hit targets at sooner than, say, the Wizard Tower. So we're going to set the mortar at 100% for his range of 11. Say the Archer Tower has a range of 10, so it's only 90.9%. So we're going to adjust the numbers accordingly for that as well. Just makes perfect sense to me. So here we go. We're going to adjust the numbers. This is the last adjustment for the defenses and the number adjustments. Ready? And bam! There you go, guys. So now we have the adjusted damage per second increases per upgrade. Now let's talk about what we said in the beginning. We want to increase the damage per second of our base as fast as possible. So we need to divide all of these damage per seconds by the amount of time it's going to take to do the upgrades. That way, say we have 2 defenses that they're going to increase the damage per second the same. 2 defenses both going to increase by 4 damage per second once the upgrade is complete. Well, one's going to take 1 day, one's going to take 10 days, right? So which one do you want to do first? The one's going to take 1 day because it's going to increase your damage per second quicker than that 10-day upgrade. So we're going to divide all these damage per seconds by the amount of time the upgrade takes, and then we'll be able to organize it into our list. So here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bam! There you go. So now everything's been adjusted. We have damage per second per day, DPS per day. Now let's put them in order. Okay, here's the list. Here's the order. It's arranged left to right and then top to bottom. So the first one, number 1 in our little statistic in our upgrade order priority list, is the Wizard Tower. Now, this surprised me. I did not expect this, but think about it. The Wizard Tower does splash damage, so we got a 3 times multiplier. It can also hit every troop, ground or air, so it didn't lose anything from that. Its range is a little bit low. But because it's a splash damage and it can hit everything, this wizard tower, is by far the best defense. The second defense is the archer tower. It doesn't do splash damage, but it has a larger range than the wizard tower, and it's a single shot, but it can hit everything. It can hit dragons, it can hit the ground units, all of them, giants and stuff. The archer tower is the second most important defense that you can upgrade. The third surprised me a lot. It was the cannon. It doesn't do splash damage. It doesn't hit air troops. But compared to the things that are below it, there's a reason. It has a great range. It has the second best range aside with the archer tower. And it's got a really high DPS. I mean, against the Barb King, this thing is a beast. The fourth and most surprising, I thought the air defense was number 1, but apparently it's number 4. The air defense can only hit air troops, and so it got dropped 3/4 of percentage. I mean, that's a lot of. That's a big drop, you know. It has pretty good range. I mean, it's pretty even with the cannon and the archer tower, but it doesn't do splash damage, so it was hindered only because it only hits air troops. The Tesla was severely hindered because of how long it takes to upgrade. It is ridiculous, like 6, 8, 10 days per upgrade. It does, what does it do? It has a really short range. It's not splash damage. Luckily, it does hit ground and air troops, so that is the only reason why the Tesla is so low, is because it takes so stinking long to upgrade. And then finally the mortar, and this didn't surprise me at all. It doesn't do air troops. It's super slow. Its damage per second is super low. It's splash damage, which is helpful against barbs and archers and goblins and stuff. But otherwise, the mortar is a fairly useless defense. And I don't like saying that lightly. It's just not the ideal defense to be using. Now, let's talk about traps. Alright guys, so here are the traps and the adjusted DPS. They all do splash damage, so that's all level. The only thing that's different between these is sort of the range. The giant bomb has a better range than the other two, and the fact that the bomb and the giant bomb can only do ground units, while the air bomb can only use or do air units. The air bomb also has a better range, obviously. I just saw that. But overall, they are fairly even and similar. As you can tell, the giant bomb is the highest, and the regular bomb is the lowest with the air bomb. Sorry, I don't have them on the screen. I put them in post. So you're dealing with the giant bomb, 17.1 damage per second. The regular bomb is only 4.7 damage per second per day. Don't forget that. And air bomb's 11.1 damage per second per day. So we're talking about our giant bombs are definitely a priority, and think about it. 1.5 times damage against the hogs too. So not only is this the best upgrade already, but also it increases with hogs. And hogs are definitely the most overpowered, the best unit you can use as Town Hall 8, in my personal opinion. When it comes to war, I've been using hogs like crazy. And then your air bomb, which is, I've seen this thing take out 50 minions at once. It's insane. So upgrade those air bombs, and the regular bombs are good as well, but I have never seen them clutch a win or anything for us. So that's the order for your traps. Let me reorganize them just to make it a little bit easier. Here we are. So top to bottom, left and right. Giant bomb, air bomb, and regular bomb. That's the order for our traps. Now let's move on to the real list. Okay guys, first things first, you want to upgrade the laboratory. Reason being is because Town Hall 8 is not balanced. As you can see, I've got 5 builders, and the time it's going to take me to upgrade everything from a max Town Hall 7 to a Town Hall 8 is 2 months shorter than your laboratory upgrades are going to take. So I recommend building this thing first and foremost. And here's a little trick. If you start a research project that's over 5 days long right before you upgrade the laboratory, then you'll be able to utilize that time while the laboratory is upgrading to do a research project. That being said, you might not have any left if you maxed out Town Hall 7, but that's an idea. You can actually save that time you think you're wasting by upgrading and researching at the same time, as long as you research before you start the upgrade. Second thing you want to build is your Dark Spell Factory. This is new, it's exciting. The regular Spell Factory doesn't have any upgrades, but the Dark Spell Factory is cool because you get the Poison Spell and the Earthquake Spell at level 2. The reason why all 5 Builder Huts are on here is because obviously you're using 2 of your Builder Huts to build these 2. So we can go ahead and remove those, just to remove them from the conversation for now, and talk about these 3 builders. What are we going to use those 3 builders for? Well, you have 3 builders to upgrade every new building to the same level as what they were at Town Hall 7. That way you have an even playing field and you can follow this guide to the T. After you've done that, you've built your laboratory, you've built your Dark Spell Factory, upgraded them to the max. Now, don't forget your defenses. Now you can start on regular, non-defensive buildings. We're going to use 3 of our builders This is assuming you have 5 builders. If you only have 4, then you can go ahead and just take one of those out. Use 2 builders for non-defensive buildings, and you're going to use 1 for defensive and 1 for traps until, we'll discuss that later. So right now, the order, and this is my personal preference of priority, is your clan castle first. You guys need that extra space. That extra 5 spaces from your clan are going to make a big difference. You can accept an extra wizard and another archer or whatever you want in that clan castle. Also increases your war loot capacity, and that's helpful because if you're winning a war, you're going to want to be able to raid that really high level, and you might max out. You don't want to max out your war loot. You don't want to do that. So upgrade to clan castle first. The second thing is your dark elixir drill. Dark elixir is extremely difficult to find as a town hall 8, and so you need to be able to bring as much of that into your base as you can for free. This is how you do it. You've got your 2 dark elixir drills, get them to level 3. That way you are bringing in as much dark elixir as possible without actually having to do any work. They just do it on their own. Then your dark elixir storage. You're going to max out your storage pretty quickly, I think, because your barbarian king upgrades are pretty expensive, and also you have a lot of things in your laboratory that need to be upgraded that use dark elixir, and they need more than 20,000 dark elixir. You go up from level 2 to level 3 and then level 4, and you end up with 80,000 dark elixir storage. That is extremely helpful. Next thing is your gold and your elixir storage. Do them in whatever order that you want. It doesn't really matter. You get 3 of them now. You can max out everything and get up to 6 million total loot storage. That's what you want. You need that because a lot of the upgrades are going to be flirting with that number, and there was probably some things that go over 4 million. I know that the town hall does for sure. After that, you want to work on your regular barracks. I kind of felt like the P.E.K.K.A. was a little more important than the golem and the Valkyrie, but that's just up to your personal preference as well. You can do the dark barrack first if you want, but upgrade those next and do them one at a time. You might even want to do one of these in the middle of these higher priority buildings because it's terrible not having your barracks. So you either need to do them one at a time or do them like I did and pretty much do them all at once. It gave me a break from Clash of Clans, and I was able to just get them all over with in 6 days. Your barracks are maxed out. You've got your P.E.K.K.A. or you've got your golem and your Valks if you want to do dark barracks. Do all 6 at the same time. I'm just kidding. You can't. You only have 5 builders. So do those as fast as you can as well. Or really, honestly, all of these need to be done as fast as possible. And then your gold mine and your elixir collector, both of those are actually like bottom dollar priority. You do those last. I mean, you're making plenty from your level 11 gold mine, your level 11 elixir collectors. You are getting plenty of resources from those. So wait until you're done. Wait until your town hall is upgrading or you're close to maxing out your base before you go to level 12, just because it's really not that important. Yeah, you can survive without going to level 12 immediately. Now let's talk about the defenses once again. Oh, and before I forget, I just wanted to mention that because the army camp has no upgrades, you don't get to build any new ones. Basically, Town Hall 7 and Town Hall 8 are the same with army camps. That is not included in this list because there's nothing to say about them. Any building that got no new upgrades or you didn't get a new one, then it wasn't mentioned in the video. And here they are, the upgrade priority list for defenses. As you can tell, first and foremost, I put 1 builder's hut right there because you are going to put 1 builder at the beginning on defenses. As you saw, the non-defensive buildings, you were using 3. That's because offense is more important than defense in Town Hall 8. Let me let that sink in. Defense is not as important as offense. You need to be able to go out and raid. You need to be able to go out and win wars. Defense is hard because you got Town Hall 9s breathing down your neck and they can destroy you no matter what. So I don't prioritize defense until a little bit later whenever you've built all of your offensive buildings and simply non-defensive buildings. So that's my personal preference on that. Since Town Hall 7, offense has always been more important than defense. So with that being said, let's move on to the list. You're surprised, right? Air defense is number 1. Well, that's because I did a little numbers, and instead of using 25% as our air units, I changed the number up and up until it became higher. The air defense became higher than the wizard tower, and it was only at 42%. So assuming that air units are used 42% of the time, the air defense is superior to the wizard tower. And based upon my own personal experience, I've been in a lot of wars, I've watched a lot of videos, balloons and dragons, and even at lower levels, your healer and Queen Walk, which is used the healer as well. There's so many things, so many really powerful troops and combinations and attacks that use air troops that I am going to go against the numbers here and say that the air defense is your most important defense in Town Hall 8, period. There's a lot of clans that force their Town Hall 8s and Town Hall 7s and everybody basically to prioritize their air defense and upgrade them first. So I'm putting that as number 1 anyway, despite what we found out earlier, because really 25 to 42%, that's only 17% increase, and I believe that people probably use air troops more often than 25%. So air defense takes number 1, and then the rest follow the list. Number 2 is Wizard Tower, number 3 is Archer Tower, number 4 is Cannon, surprisingly still, and then number 5 is your Hidden Tesla, and then I threw in the Air Sweeper. You don't want to forget the Air Sweeper. I haven't upgraded it yet. The Air Sweeper is being put in at number 5, 6 in the list because it's important. It's not as important as everything else, but more important than the mortar. That's just where it ended up landing. A good thing I didn't forget about it, right? So the air sweeper is number 6 on your list, and number 7 is your mortar, following the numbers that we found out earlier. Let's move on to traps. Here we go, guys. So the traps are very, very simple. It follows the list completely. Number 1 is your giant bombs. Number 2 is your air bombs. Number 3 is your regular bombs. And the giant bombs need to be placed in a position between defenses. Put 2 of them together. That way you can wipe out any hog raids that you encounter. No matter if there's a healing spell on them or not, double giant bombs will wipe out hogs every time. So put them between, like I said, between the 2 defenses, your wizard tower and your air defense, something to where the hogs will have to cross those 2 giant bombs and it'll wipe them out. That is an OP strategy for defense, and I highly recommend you do it. And then your air bombs are awesome against everything air, obviously, and then your bombs are they're number 3 on the list. So that is it for traps, guys. Now let's look at the big picture and talk about how to the order and the strategy on the builders. Okay, guys, here is our list, and I know it's a lot to look at, so let's go at it piece by piece. First things first, we have our laboratory and our dark spell factory. As you remember, that's priority number 1 and number 2. And as you can tell, this group right here has all 5 builder huts, and that means that you need to spend all 5 builders on this group first before you move on to the next groups. Now, that means that builder 1 and builder 2 will build your laboratory and your dark spell factory, and then your other 3 are going to work on all of your defenses, getting them up to level 7 standards. I'm talking about your new archer tower, your new wizard tower, your archer, your air defense, all that kind of stuff. And then after that, or during it, whatever, doesn't matter, upgrading or building your skeleton traps, your seeking air mine, and your spring traps. They're all 0-second upgrades, or they just don't fit into the other category. And I'm talking about skeleton traps. Just build them whenever you feel like it. Once you're done with that group, we'll move on and talk about the strategy for the last 3 groups. And here we are. So we have our non-defensive buildings, our defensive buildings, and our traps. Now, the non-defensive buildings get priority with 3 builders. Our defensive buildings start with 1 builder, and then our traps also start with 1 builder as well. Once your traps are done, and they should finish before your defenses, this builder needs to be converted to the defensive section, and our traps should be done. After you're done with your traps, now we're going to move on to the end game, what we're going to plan for in the end. You finished all of your non-defensive buildings except for your mines and collectors, and once you have finished all of these, you need to move the rest of your builders. Ooh, why did that guy move too? You need to move all of your builders over and start finishing out and completing your defenses. It's going to take a long time because if you look, Teslas, you have 3 Teslas, each of them has 3 levels, and all of those have a ton of days. It's just going to take forever. So really prioritize, but remember that Tesla is going to probably take you the longest. Once you're done with your defenses, all of your defenses are maxed out, you want to move all 5 builders over to start doing your mines and collectors. Sorry about that. We're going to do our mines and collectors last, and also I want to note right now that the Barbarian King takes Dark Elixir in order to upgrade. You need to do that whenever you have enough Dark Elixir. You need to get to level 10 before you move on to Town Hall 9 with your Barbarian King. Also, you need to be working on your walls. Notice I've got some level 8 walls. I've got some level 7 walls. I've actually got about half and half right now. And anytime you've got extra gold, which you will have extra gold at the beginning of this, but not at the end, so do as many walls as you can at the beginning. You need to be upgrading your walls because you are required. This is from Klaus right now. Klaus Gaming instructs you in commands that you must max out your walls before you move on to Town Hall 9. Now, Obviously, once you finish upgrading all of your gold mines and collectors, or while you're doing it, you can start your Town Hall 9. Now, I don't have my Town Hall on here because I didn't want to give anybody the idea. You need to max out everything. Let's back out and look at everything once again. You need to max out everything before you even think about going to Town Hall 9. So let's go over it one more time, really fast, and it'll be on the screen as well. Number 1 is your laboratory. Number 2 is your dark spell factory. Number 3 is all of your new buildings and your skeleton traps, your seeking air mines, and your spring traps. After that, you need to move on and do non-defensive, defensive, and traps all at the same time. 3 builders for your non-defensive buildings, 1 for your defensive buildings, and 1 for your traps. The order of all of these things are on the screen and in the description box. Once you're done with your traps, move that builder up and finish out your defenses, but your non-defensive buildings were finished first, and so once those are done, move the 3 builders to your defenses as well. Once your defenses is done, or are done, you need to do your mines and collectors, and once those are done, you have maxed out your base. Make sure your walls are done, make sure your Barbarian King is done, and after that, you have a maxed out Town Hall level 8 base, and you can move on to Town Hall level 9. Thank you guys for joining me. That's all I've got for today, and I know it was a big thing, and I'm hoping it wasn't too long in the, we can compress it in the editing, but everything is in the description box below. If you maybe missed something or didn't understand it, you can read it. I'm going to make it as clear and concise as possible in the description box. The official priority list for upgrades, Town Hall 8. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, leave a like down, or hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be doing Town Hall 7, Town Hall 9. Also, look forward to the laboratory research priority list as well, because Town Hall 8, there's some research projects that are way more important than others, and you need to know what they are and why, and in order to do those as well. So look forward to that. And also, if you have any, if you have a different opinion than me on what I chose to prioritize, let me know in the description box below. Or if you agree with me or whatever, just comment. That's what I meant. Comment. Let me know what you think about all this. And I know that this will probably change after the new update drops. So look forward to probably a Town Hall 8 upgrade priority list level 2 or 2.0. But for now, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Peace.